What's up, guys? Got a Falcon dash project I've been thinking about. So I think I came up with a way to drive the factory Speedo using a brushed DC motor, and might figure out how to drive that directly from the Megasquirt PWM output. I can create a mile per hour as our input and then a duty cycle output to actually drive the DC brushed motor to spin the back of the factory dash to move the needle and also make the odometer work. So I'll show you what I got so far. So here is factory 6465 Falcon dash, and on the back you'll see Speedo input. So the idea is the factory Speedo cable plugs into here. It's got a square drive and this cute little threaded portion that attached the cable to. So what I have here is a brushed DC motor. Came out of like a printer of some sort that we had laying around. We tore apart. So I'm going to design in SolidWorks and then 3D print an adapter that will press into there and has the hex drive. And then I might build another adapter to thread onto this threaded part and capture these two mounting tabs somehow. So we'll see. It'd be pretty neat if I can come up with some way to set that in there, thread on the outer portion, and then this will hold in place. And it'll be as simple as providing 12 volts to one side. I'll throw a diode across there, banded edge towards the 12 volt, banded edge towards the 12 volt supply, and then the non-banded will go to the ground, switching ground, which will go through the Megasquirt box through one of the PWM channels. And then to calibrate it, it'll be as simple as putting the ECU into test mode, turning the key on, providing 12 volts to the back side of that motor, and then playing with different duty cycles to see how fast it spins the gauge, or the Speedo gauge, and then how far up it goes, right? So who knows, 50% duty might get me 70 miles an hour, I don't know. It might only get you 25, so it might not be linear. I kind of think it should be linear, but how the brushed motor reacts to a little bit of a load might not be linear. I don't know. That's just something I'm gonna have to test. All right, that was painless. Just ran a small drill bit and a little bit bigger drill bit. I think this is a 078. 2 millimeter is like an 080 or an 079. So that pressed right on there really nice. I think it's just going to take a little bit of like Loctite or Gorilla Glue or something, and I could probably scuff up the shaft a little bit so it all kind of stick. But now, so that goes on there. So I might shorten the length a little bit. So there we go. Oh man, it's focusing on everything but what I want it to. There we go. There we go. So yeah, so we'll do a quick little test and see what this thing spins up to with just 12 volts and see where the Speedo gets to. That was weird. Okay. Alright, so we got something working, kinda, sorta. Got our little DC motor with the little adapter, 3D print adapter to a 3-cell LiPo. We're only using, two of the 3 cells, so it's about 7.5 volts or so. And depending on how centered we get the motor, and get the wobble delta to kind of let's see here. There we go. Made this 3D printed bracket to hold the motor, and there's a little pin inside, goes on the back of the motor and drives the square peg on the back of the bell for the Speedo. So it's pretty good. A little rattle to it, but it's working. There we go, lower speed. So what I'll do is I'll provide 12 volts to the motor and then PWM it to change the speed. So we'll see how smooth that ends up being in the end. There we go. So just have it on the seat, so it's PWMing a channel. So if I come over here, I can bump this up a couple percentage We'll see that the speedo's changed. And at the bottom it gets kind of wobbly, but that's okay. That should be good enough for what I needed to do.
Hey, it's working! Market score shows like 49, 50, and that's what I'm showing on the dash. It's got a little wobble delta to it, but hey, it's working. It's doing something at least, so. It shows we slow down. I accidentally put the high beam light where the fuel gauge illuminator is supposed to go. But so in 43, yeah, so it's working pretty good. Right where it needs to be, plus or minus.